Angel Baby Kitten Gang, we are at episode 40, my month with a billionaire. I slept till 4 p.m. today, you guys, because we were on that fuck ass train yesterday from Monterey for 12 hours because people on trains just can't act right. We had 2 whole cabins to ourselves to film, and literally we were in the observation deck doing some filming and just kind of hanging out. 2 people got kicked off this train for smoking, and at one point I was sitting there with my DP and my director, and we were just kind of looking over dailies, and I just hear the sound of like water bubbling. It was like we look behind us, I see a huge puff of smoke behind, and this guy right here was, I'm not even joking, smoking out of a 1.5 foot tall bong. I didn't get his bong rip on camera because we were so shocked, but that was the guy. And he just ripped it in this closed container train, literally hotboxing us. There were children on there. And so one of our crew guys had to go get the conductor to kick him off. And the conductor was like, "Hey man, are you smoking on this train?" And the guy was like, "No." And he was like, "Are you vaping?" And the guy was like, "No, man, I don't do nicotine." I was like, okay, technically he didn't lie. But then one of our guys was like, "Dude, he was ripping a freaking bong. Like, it smells like weed in here. Can't you tell?" And they were like, "Yeah." So kicking people off of the train takes time. So it took us 12 hours. So what would have been like a 6 to 8 hour train ride was a 12-hour ride. So I was exhausted. I got home after midnight last night. I slept all day. So this is why I'm just getting this to you guys now. But don't worry, I am back in LA, back to regular programming. I'm on set tomorrow in LA, but I'll be able to film and everything. So let's get into 40, you guys, because it is a good one. We just wrapped up with Carrie, and she just kind of gave us the tea on everything. And I am now scheming with her and Kristen, my 2 girlies, like girl gang, on Operation Get Rid of Dana, Save Daddy Harley. So Kristen's like, fuck yeah, let's do it. I look at my phone because I have a text from Jack, and he was like, "Hey, just so you know," because we had a little group chat with me, him, and Harley and Kristen, so that we could all keep track of Harley's schedule and just like the comings and goings of the house, because Jack obviously does his schedule and everything, and purposely we kept Dana out of that chat. We had another chat with Dana. Yeah. So Jack texted us and he was like, "Hey, Kristen and Kat, Harley wants you guys home by this time, like around 5, 6, because he has a party that is going to be happening in the evening at his friend's." We're going to call him Gary. Gary was one of Harley's sober living housemates who was now out and was like in active recovery and did not have his own sober living coach, but he was living in Topanga at his parents' house, and he apparently was a musician, and so he was having like a little kind of musical gathering thing because he was releasing a new self-made EP, and Harley wanted us to go with him. And me and Chris were like, okay, great. I'm like, well, I'm sure that Dana will be there, so we can go ahead and start putting our operation into blast, because we have a couple days before she's out of town, before we go to Vegas, and we're like, woo, go team go. We get back to the Mansion of Madness, and Chef Drew has already prepared us some snacks because he is, as always, on top of his shit, because his job is very important in the Mansion of Madness, keep us all fed, hydrated, and just fancy free. So he had prepared us a nice little kind of charcuterie board of meats and cheeses and shrimp cocktails and stuff that we could snack on before we went to the party over in Topanga Canyon. If you don't live in LA, Topanga Canyon is a little bit farther up north, and it is one of the places near the Palisades that did get affected pretty heavily by the fires that happened. We're underneath snacks. We hear the ding ding on the front door, and in walks old Daddy Harley and Dana and Jack. They come in, and Daddy Harley's like, "Hello, how did you guys have a good day today? Did you girls have a good day? Like, tell me about it." And I was like, "Oh yeah." He walks over, and he's just standing behind me, just kind of like holding me from the back and like kissing me on the head. And he's like, "Oh, tell me about your day." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I met your sister." And he was like, "I heard, and she said that she had quite the impression of you." And I told her that I knew that you guys would get along. I was like, "She's a very formidable lady." And he was like, "Yes, she is." And he's like, "Did she show you her little stash of vodka?" I was like, "She sure did." He's like, "Yep, well, I heard that my dad didn't have a very good day." I'm like, "It's okay though, because we made our little plans with Carol and everything is going according to plan. And you just have to show up, Daddy Harley. Me and Jack and Kristen and Carol and everyone will take care of everything, and you don't have to worry about a damn thing." And he was like, "Oh, I'll just show up." I'm like, "Well, that's pretty much what you do anyways." And he was like, "Yeah, don't worry." He's like, "Well, you're not going to really have to do anything anyways, because Jack and Carol will plan everything. And Lindsay, who is Papa Henry's assistant, Harley's dad. Remember, Papa Henry is now Harley's dad, y'all. I know that it's been confusing for some people, but I had to do it because I was getting a lot of messages that people were getting confused. So Papa Henry, Harley's dad. I'm looking over at Dana because I'm wondering if she's going to say anything, and she's just ignoring the conversation, being on her phone as usual, playing Snake or whatever, or maybe pretending to do her job. Who knows? Who knows? Conspiring. I don't know. Looking at pictures of Daddy Harley in his birthday suit. We don't know what she does. So I'm kind of like just sitting away with Kristen, chatting away, and Daddy Harley says he's going to go upstairs and get ready. And we're like, okay, we'll get ready too. Kristen's like, by the way, we should pre-drink there because they're probably not going to have any alcohol there because it's going to be a lot of the people from Harley's sober living days. So I don't know if they're going to have alcohol or not or what the situation is. So we should just like have drinks here before we go. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So Chef Drew makes us our catinis, my vodka martini, and both of us go and grab our drinks and we go into Kristen's room and we're just kind of getting ready and chatting as we're doing so. And I end up wearing this really cute silk goldish long dress that's by my friend Shop Shani, and it's very 90s vibes. And then I borrowed one of Kristen's light tan little suede jackets and I wore some tall suede brown boots with it. Baby Kristen was wearing super baggy Acne jeans, like very, very wide legged with a white tube top. And she had her hair kind of up in like a little clip that was going like this. And I had my hair in tiny little pigtails. We were ready to go. We walk out and Daddy Harley's over there. And this time, y'all, Daddy Harley owns other outfits because this is the first time that I had seen this man in a button up. And he was wearing a kind of silky gray, very like easy breezy, loose, kind of breathable button up, had it quarter length. And I don't know if y'all know this about me, but I love to see a man's forearms. Like, men, show me those slutty little forearms all day long because that's what gets mama going, you know? And I'm like, oh, you look very cute. He's wearing black jeans and his Siggy little glasses. And Dana, of course, is there wearing a white off-the-shoulder long-sleeve dress and heels that look like she wants to stomp out the hearts of everyone because that's probably her MO. And then cute little Jack is there as well. Topanga Canyon is probably like 15, 18 miles from Encino, so it usually takes like 30 to 40 minutes. It was taking us 40 minutes to get there. And me and Kristen and Harley got into his Range Rover. We were going into his boxy little camo-colored Range Rover. Yes, Daddy Harley has a camo Range Rover. And Dana and Jack were in the Dana Mobile of Misery. And we all make our way to Topanga Canyon. And I'm sitting on the front seat and I was like, oh, so who's this guy? And he was like, oh, his name is Gary. And he is a guy that I was living in the sober living house. And he is 21 years old now. He was like a teenager when he was in the sober living house and really talented in music. And so he's releasing his own EP right now that his parents are helping him with. And he lives in Topanga Canyon with his parents. And I was like, oh, I haven't actually been to Topanga Canyon that often, I don't think. And he was like, oh, you really like it. And Kristen's like, oh my gosh, Gary, I cannot believe is actually trying to have a music career. And Harley's like, stop it, Kristen. I'm like, why? And Kristen's like, he can't sing for shit. I'm like, oh. And Harley's like, Kristen, at least he's like trying to have an outlet from his addiction. And I was like, oh, what was his addiction? And Harley's like, Nas. And I'm like, Whippets? And he was like, yeah. And Harley's like, yeah, he actually went paralyzed for 7 months because he was doing Whippets so hard. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, Nas, y'all, it lasts not very long, and it's basically like taking a hit of helium from a balloon. It just makes you very, very lightheaded, but it literally kills your brain cells. Like, I did this in high school. I didn't even know people were still doing Whippets anymore, but apparently it's a thing. And if you see some homies rolling around your town with a big canister of air and you know that they don't make balloons, they doing Whippets out here, y'all. So I was like, oh my God. And he was like, yeah, he was paralyzed for 6 to 8 months because of the Whippets. I'm like, that is absolutely traumatizing. He was like, yeah, it wasn't great. He's like, but you know, he and I have become really good friends. He's a really, really great kid and I want to support him. So there's going to be a lot of the sober living house people that you haven't met that I spent a lot of time with when I was living there that I'm still really good friends with because we all have like a group chat. And I did know that Harley had a group chat with these people that they talked a lot and they were kind of always checking on each other because you do obviously bond. I mean, it's like sleepaway camp, but for people that are addicts, right? So we're kind of driving and I'm like, yeah, it was really great. I got to meet Carrie and we got to see your dad at the flowers. And he was like, oh, did he lose it over the flowers? I was like, he wasn't happy about the flowers. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, he actually has asked so many times for that thing to be destroyed, but me and Carrie won't let him. I was like, yeah, and Carol was saying that your dad likes to stay at the Venetian. He was like, we're not staying at the fucking Venetian. He was like, I will get a floor either at the Aria or the Encore, probably the Encore, and then we'll all just post up there. I'm like, oh my God, Daddy Harley is onto this idea. Me and Kristen are like, yay, yay, yay. And he was like, yeah, I also spoke with Jack about arranging for us to go to one of the restaurant openings from one of my friends out there. He's like this Michelin star chef that just opened this amazing place over there. So we'll go eat there. And then if you girls want to do some shopping, going clubbing, we can do that. And I'm sure that my dad will probably want to go to the spa at Encore as well. So that'll be good. And then if you girls want to do some gambling, I'm like, oh my God, Daddy Harley's like actually making plans and like being excited because this man doesn't plan anything, nor is excited about anything except for literally threesomes and cuckery. So I'm like, okay, this is awesome. I'm like, are you excited, Daddy Harley? He like looks over, he just puts his hand on my leg, and he was like, yes, I'm excited. He's like, look, I'm happy if you are happy, because I love to see your happiness, because you are sunshine in person, and I just love to see you smile. He's like, but I think it's really going to be nice for my dad, and he has already been talking about wanting to go to Vegas, obviously, for years now, so I can finally get this checked off his list, and hopefully he'll leave me alone about it. We're pulling up the windy roads of Topanga, and Topanga is a very boho rich vibe. So think like rich kids coming from rich artists, old Hollywood writers, and just barefoot children, and, you know, Lululemon moms that are too cool to wear shoes and are just around to in their chakras, you know what I'm saying? That's the vibe over here. So we pull up to this fucking huge ass house, and it is literally off the mountain. Now, we pass a lot of very burned down areas as well, because of the fact that this was very much affected by the fires in this area. But there were some houses that were spared in the valley, because they were protected kind of by the valley. So they're inland more, and they were more protected. So we go over. This house is completely flat. It's like a box like this. It has a platform that's kind of coming off the mountain, and just huge tall windows all around. Pull up. The outside is like a green and a grayish color, with some green on the outside and grayish shutters, and they have art on the outside, y'all, like expensive art. So the roof is like this. They have art on the outside. I've seen a lot of rich people's houses in LA that they purposely put art on the outside, and you know that art is an investment piece. So you have money if you can afford to have art that is going to weather the storms and the weather out here in LA, especially after there was a fire, and obviously the air quality is still not great, right? Daddy Harley grabs my hand, and we walk in along with Dana and Jack, and inside the house there's really lovely music playing. I look over, and there's actually like a 3-string quartet band that's playing over there, and I want to say there was probably like 40 to 50 people. Like, there was quite a few people there. And when you walk in, it just opens up to this huge open area. Walk in, there's stairs directly here. On the right, there's a living room and some bathrooms. And then on the left, it's a huge open space, which is where you can actually see the observation deck of the outside and the big windows. Huge living room area with a big ass wraparound couch that can probably fit like 20 people. And then on the right side of the room, there is a big kitchen medium with a bunch of food on it and some very, very nice copper kitchenware. And I want to say the ages of people was honestly varying. There was a lot of people that did look like they were in their 20s and stuff, but then there was like a very big stark contrast of people that were in their 50s, 60s, 70s. And honestly, it was just a huge array of different ages. We walk in, and two of the people that greet Harley first are an older couple, and they're like, Harley, hello. And he's like, hey. And he looks, and he's like, hey, these are Gary's parents. I'm like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. And they're like, hey, thanks for coming. And they're like, Harley, it means the world that you made time in your busy schedule to see us, because Gary is going to be very, very happy. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. Harley starts greeting people. It's like everyone in the room stopped and looked at Harley when we walked in. Like, the man has clout and presence, y'all, because everyone is so excited to see him. And it's obvious that, first of all, a lot of them haven't seen him in a while. Second of all, that he was very beloved at his sober living house. And I look at Chris and I'm like, do you think Tina will be here? She was like, I have no idea. So we were kind of on the lookout and wondering if she might be there. And Harley starts introducing us to various people. Kristen knew some of them, and Dana knew all of them, obviously. But I was meeting all these people for the first time. I'm meeting various people, lots of names, lots of, honestly, just varying ages of people. Finally, I meet Gary. He's very sweet. He's like probably maybe like 5'9", very broccoli, kind of shaggy hair. And he's wearing a white Saint Laurent t-shirt, some baggy jeans. And he was like, Harley, I'm so happy you're here, man. And he was like, hey, I'm very excited about your debut. I'm really proud of you. And he was like, yeah, it's been really great. And he's like, hey, before everything gets crazy and you have to go on and start performing, I have a little gift for you. And he's like, you didn't have to get me that. And Harley's like, come on. He's like, come on, Kat. I go with him, me and Kristen, with Harley back to the car. And he opens up the back of the camo Range Rover, y'all. In the back is a super nice electric guitar. I don't know anything about instruments, y'all, but I could tell that it was really nice. It was brown, and it had a signature on it, a bunch of signatures. And Harley just goes, here you go, man. Like, congratulations on your debut. Dude looks at it, and he immediately was like, Harley. I'm like, who are these people? And the guy looks at me, and Gary's like, my favorite band. And he's like, Coldplay. I'm like, Harley got Coldplay to sign this guitar? What the hell? I'm like, do you know them, Harley? And Harley just kind of like laughed. And Kristen's like, oh my God. She's like, this makes sense for Harley. I'm like, this is a really sweet gift, Harley. And dude was just hugging him and very happy. We go back inside and we're kind of looking around and they have a bunch of non-alcoholic beverages. So me and Kristen are just like sitting there drinking our non-alcoholic beverages. Mine was like this blackberry smash non-alcoholic thing. It was very lovely. And Kristen's like, hey, come over and pop into the bathroom really quick with me. I'm like, okay. We walk back around past the stairs down the hallway, and on the wall there's like all these different pictures of Gary and his parents and different family members. We walk back to the bathroom. It's actually a very cute kind of refurbished old school Hollywood style bathroom with like one of those big kind of wrought iron claws, and it's got pink wallpaper with like little flamingos on it. She's in there and she lifts up her Chrome Hearts bag, which is the barrel one. And she opens it and she pulls out a flask and she's like, look what I have. I'm like, Kristen. And she's like, I knew they weren't going to have alcohol here. And she takes a sip. I'm like, Kristen, we can't have that in here. And I'm like, look, I am all for sneaking booze, but if they smell our breaths and get triggered or something, like that's not going to be good. And she's like, don't worry, don't worry. She's like, just take like a big glug or whatever. It'll be fine. I have gum. I'm like, okay. So I take a big glug and she's like, I'm going to pour some in my drink. I'm like, no, Kristen, you and I can come and sneak it in the bathroom, but we're not pouring it in our drinks. Like, that's super disrespectful because this person's house. That is where I'm going to draw the line. And I'm only taking this one sip and that's it. But put that thing away. Don't bring it out again. And she's like, fine. I'm like, look, I love you, girl. And trust me, I am trouble and audacious too, but I want to be very, very respectful of these people that are in recovery. She puts it back in. She gives me gum. I'm like, let's go smoke a cigarette as well. Because I only smoke sometimes, y'all. Like when I'm drinking, I'm not a smoker. But I was like, I knew that everyone was out on the observation deck on the outside smoking. So I was like, let's just cover this up even more with some cigarette smoke. She walks out with me and we walk back out and Harley like looks over. He's kind of in the middle standing with people and he just kind of reaches his hand out. And I walk over. I'm like, hey, I think we're going to go smoke a cigarette outside. And he was like, okay, I'll come with you. We walk back outside and the observation deck. So here's the inside living room. You walk this way, observation deck that kind of connects to all the windows inside and everyone's standing out there, a bunch of really nice, beautiful view of like the mountains and there's all these seating areas and everything. And Harley gets startled by this couple that they look like they literally just escaped from Bohemia land. They're so cute. Like the lady has sandy hair with like one of those, big wrap things. And then they're both barefoot just standing out there. And she's like, hey, Harley. And he's like, oh, hey. He introduced me to them. He's like, this is Gary's aunt and uncle who live nearby as well. I'm like, oh, very cool. And they're smoking cigarettes. So we get a cigarette as well. And we're just kind of smoking out there. And the woman with the head wrap, she's like, yeah, we're actually leaving Topanga. We're going to be moving over to upstate New York to be with like our other side of the family as well. And he was like, oh, what are you going to do with like your shop? And she's like, oh, looks at me and Kristen. She's like, I have a crystal shop nearby and it did get affected a little bit by the fire. So we're just going to close it down. And that's fine because I was thinking about closing it down anyways. And I'm like, oh my God, a crystal shop. I love crystal shop. She's like, oh, do you want to see pictures? It was really cute. And Harley's like, it's totally your vibe. She pulls up on her phone pictures. It's super cute. It's got all these crystals, very open light, all these like little butterfly hangs off. I'm like, oh my God, I love it. I'm like, oh, it's so cute. It's like a little fairyland. And she was like, yeah, it was really, really cute. She's like, I am sad to close it down, but you know what? It's time and we're going to have fun. And I'm like, oh, it's so cute. And she's like, yeah. And Kristen's kind of looking at pictures. And then Harley's like, hey, I'm like, yeah. He leans over y'all into my ear and he goes, do you want that shop? I was like, what, Harley? He goes, the crystal shop. Do you want it? I was like, what do you mean, do I want it? He was like, do you want me to buy it for you? Sir, why are you're offering to buy me a crystal shop? I definitely don't need a crystal shop, Harley. I was like, Harley, if you want to help them, you can help them, but I don't need a crystal shop. He's like, okay, well, let me know if you change your mind. Billionaire shit, y'all. I'm like, that's very sweet and romantic. Thank you, but I'm good. And he was like, okay. We kind of finished talking to them and everyone's like, okay, we're going to go back inside and we're going to watch them perform. Go inside. Gary's playing with his band. It's like a band of 4 guys and they're kind of playing some like mellow rock music and we're all just kind of sitting around listening. And I see this woman with very, very short, dark hair. She looks like she's some sort of Middle Eastern and she looks over and she just waves at Harley. And Harley looks at her and they looks back at me. And I was like, oh, who is that? And he goes, I have to go say hi. And I was like, who is that? And he goes, that's Farah. I'm like, the owner of the sober living house. I see. He's like, yes, I guess that she came here for this specifically because she doesn't live here. I was like, where does she live? And he was like, she lives far away. I'm like, interesting that she's here in town. He was like, yeah, I didn't know she was in town either. So apparently, as we were kind of standing around talking to people, most of the people that were in the sober living house that were actually at the event, like it was a mix. There was probably, I want to say maybe like 7 or 8 people from the sober living house that we knew, and some of them had flown in for this. And then also a lot of the people there were just like other friends of their families and stuff. But it's obvious that this sober living house is very rich because all these people that were in the sober living house were very wealthy and had flown in for this. So, and they were all different ages as well. And Kristen's like, oh my God, that's Farah. I'm like, Farah. I walk over there to say hi with Harley, and Harley's like, this is Kat. And Farah's like, yes, I've heard a lot about you. And I'm like, I've heard a lot about you too, Farah. Y'all, this woman looks like she needs to get railed by 1 or 2 people immediately because she is the most stiff person I have ever met in my life. And I'm a bracelet lover, y'all, as you know. This woman took it to another level. She had gold bracelets all the way up to here. I'm not even joking. Like, you could hear this woman coming from a mile away. Her and her bob just clanking over there. And Dana walks over, and Dana's kind of chatting with them. And I'm like, yeah, so you guys have known each other for a while, haven't you? And they're like, yeah, we go way back. And I'm like, yeah, it seems like it. It seems like y'all are like little besties that would do anything for each other. And Kristen's like, yeah, kind of like us. I'm like, yeah, but we just met. And Harley's like, Kat, come with me. I want to show you something. I'm like, damn it, Harley, I'm trying to get into the good stuff. And I leave Kristen. He walks me back out to the outside area. The music's still kind of playing. And there's some people that are kind of standing on the observation deck watching the music from outside. You can't really hear it from there, but they're just kind of watching. And there's just like kind of people spread all around. He walks me out to the observation deck into a corner out, and we're just kind of looking out, and the sun is setting, and it's just so gorgeous. And he's like, look at this sunset. I'm like, wow, this is a beautiful, beautiful house. And he was like, yeah, it is nice. I thought about buying a house over here, but with the fires happening, I decided it was probably not a good idea. And he goes, how's the apartment search going? I was like, like, I'm not worried about it. I know that the right thing will come along. And he was like, are you like desperate to get away from me? I'm like, no, Harley, but you know, I need my own space. And he was like, okay, if you could live anywhere in LA, it didn't matter where, how much, whatever, what area would you live in? I was like, honestly, either the Silver Lake Hills or Larchmont Village. Like, I really love those areas. And Silver Lake, y'all, is very much like mini Williamsburg. And then Larchmont is a very cute area that's kind of very villagey, cute, rich, a very sweet little pocket of LA that's kind of hidden. And I was like, either one of those. And he was like, I could live in Larchmont. I'm like, yeah. And he was like, yeah. He's like, what about out of the country? I'm like, I would love to live in Paris or maybe Italy. And he was like, okay, well, I have houses in both those areas, so we could go and stay there for a little while. I'm like, oh. I'm like, wait, where all do you have houses, Harley? And he's like, I have the one here in Encino. He's like, I used to have a Malibu house. I sold it and have a condo in Beverly Hills that's just empty that friends will stay at sometimes. Like, I have a friend that's crashing there right now. And then I have a house in Tuscany and then one in Paris. And I'm like, oh, wow. And he's like, yeah, I was thinking about also maybe buying a house over in Dubai. I'm like, oh, okay, Middle East. And he's like, okay, well, what if we just went and lived at one of the houses for a little while? Would that be good? Like, instead of you just immediately finding a place in LA, what if you and I just went and stayed elsewhere and just got out? And I was like, that really sounds nice. Harley and I could be down, but would Dana be coming? And he was like, well, before I would say yes. He's like, but it would be nice to be there with just you. And I'm like, oh yeah, Harley? And he was like, yeah. Like, how about this? Let's see how the trip goes in Vegas without Dana and with my dad. And then you and I can try and figure out if we can have a little staycation over at my Paris or my Italy house. And I was like, bet king say less. I have a lot of fun things that I want to plan and do with you while Dana's gone. And he was like, oh yeah? I was like, yes, I'm going to scheme with Jack and Kristen. And all I need from you is a yes, that I can have free reign to plan things for us to do. I'll have Jack make sure that your schedule is well. And then after Vegas, I want to show you how you're not riching right, Harley, and how fucking much fun you could be having and that you're not. And that way you can see how cool life can be. And he was like, if you want to do that, I will do that with you. And he's like, you just let me know where to be, you and Jack, and I will be there. And I was like, hell yes. I have my hand kind of looped in his arm and I'm just leaning on his shoulder. And I'm just thinking, like, no matter what happens with this man, he does bring me a lot of safety and comfort at this point, and I am feeling very close to him at that moment. And I'm just really hoping that we can come to a nice understanding and continue to help him on his healing journey. And he just kind of kisses me on my head and he was like, I really like having you around. And I was like, I like being around you too. He's like, all right, let's go back and listen to more music. And we turn and I just see next to Kristen someone talking to her through the glass, and Harley just goes, teeny. Yes, y'all. Teeny's there talking to Kristen. The way that it was set up was Kristen's standing next to the door. Teeny is there. I can see them through the window. In the middle of the room is Farrah and Dana, and they haven't seen Teeny yet. So Harley and I walk in, and I'm like, we have to get to Teeny before Dana sees her and Farrah. And he was like, okay, what do you want to do? And I'm like, okay, just follow my lead. So episode 41, do Teeny and Harley finally get to chat? Dana's leaving in the next day or so, and we're going to start our Operation No More Dana proclivities. Kristen and I do a little bit more snooping into her past and so much more. And we take Papa Henry to Vegas. I love you when I see you. Big hug, big kiss.